Welcome to another Kingscrusher Blitz Banter on the ICC, the Internet Chess Club. So this is 9 PM UK time. Hi all on stream. Okay, so Trent David, he's the early bird at the moment. Okay, hi Trent David. So this is I think a 3-2 game. Let's try c5 here, and I think b5 immediately is an interesting idea. We had this last week or the week before. Now, this position, I'm not too displeased. I'm curious about e5. If that was interesting, I don't want to make it interesting for white to play e5. I want to sort of use the b file pressure, if possible, and something like, I don't know if bishop a6 runs into something horrible. I might do knight takes d6. I think I've got bishop e2. That might be plausible. Well, I'm hoping it's plausible. Knight takes d6, bishop takes e2. There's no checks or anything to investigate. Right, now if I just take that off, or am I weakening the light squares, my light squares? I might be, you know, I might be. Okay. I'm not sure how favourable that transaction was for me. I've got a rook here, a queen b8 or queen a8. I noticed last week I had a hydration problem. I've got my cup, my blue cup ready. I'm waiting. I think a slight hydration issue last week. Knight b5, knight takes b5, queen takes b5. So there's a nice pin. I've got nice pressure. In a superficial sense, in this position, I think I've got a nice position anyway. Concretely, it does seem nice actually. What does he do actually about the c4 knight here? If he plays rook c3, I'm just going to take that. Rook and knight's dropping. What does he do about this pin here? I'm hoping this is a good start for me. Hi Jordan on stream. Hi on stream. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I think this is a good position to start off with. Right. Can I take that? I'm hoping I can simply take this at least. Okay, so I'm not winning a piece. That is a way of saving the piece. But surely this is good news anyway. Actually, okay, it's a bit dangerous on d6. Come back for d6. Or maybe I should have gone for the pin again. Okay, yeah, this is looking a bit dangerous. I don't want to end up losing a knight on d7 to a check. Okay, whoa, things are being thrown at me here. If I take that, it might be queen b1. This looks a little bit dangerous for my king. I'm wondering queen b1 here hits things. There's rook f1. If I take here first. Okay, I got to be careful. Is knight g4 plausible or not really? What about queen e4? Gives me possibilities of like queen d4 check or queen e6. Queen e6. I have opened up my king a bit, or he's opened up my king. Queen e6. queen e6. Downsides of my opponent's position. I mean, e6, maybe I'm already hitting some of the downsides of this e6 pawn. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll try and unpin here. Well, there's knight e8. I'm not sure knight e8 loses outright, but is it necessary? He's got rook f8. Okay, what to do? What to do? Do I do this? I don't like the pressure. I don't like my king under great scrutiny here. That's for sure. If I try and unpin, rook takes b2, queen takes, queen e1 is mate. Hold on a sec. Oh, rook takes b2 here is a good deflection. For queen takes e3. Good to check out these forcing moves.
Check.
Picking up the rook. I can actually pick up the rook like this.
Check. Check.
Alright, thanks, Trent David. J. Russell 2. Okay. J. Russell 2. Let's play Queen's Gambit. Okay, so this is a super solid Slav. Let's play this Gambit line, which sometimes is accepted. Is he really going to give up the bishop? They have light squares around the place. These squares are all going to be slightly weakened if he gives up the dark square bishop. Now, if he doesn't, okay, I can make sure I don't need even the doubled pawns. Super solid play so far. Very sensible. Can I play for e4? We have what looks like a sort of standard looking position, I guess. I'm wondering about this bishop, how he's gonna, what he's gonna do with that. Maybe knight f6 and c5. Still, I think on c5, say knight d4, I have knight b6. Does he play a6? I think that looks okay. I can try and keep a bind on e5. Can I actually... Maybe I can double here and be ready for knight d4. There'll be no bishop c6. The c5, yeah, might happen, but I'm going to double the rooks. Okay. It's pretty solid looking. I'm happy with the look of my position here. It seems pretty coordinated. I think I can wait for CD, but do I have actually a useful waiting move? I wonder. Actually, there's d5. Hang on, there's d5 here. That looks pretty good. Maybe bishop e5, and if bishop d6, bishop f6 doubling the pawns, If the queen did move, maybe d6. Or I can double the pawns here. Or I can play knight g5, threatening bishop f6. I think this might be better. So threatening bishop f6 and queen h7. It seems kind of dangerous. It seems dangerous. If h6 bishop f6, hg bishop g5. It seems dangerous. You can't play g6. e5, yeah, e5 is possible. Does he want to do that? Okay, here I'm going to do this to go into h7, or it'd be queen f7 mate after if takes. So I'm thinking I'm just picking up this pawn. On ed bishop d5, I might have queen g6 with that pin on f7. So I have just taken a pawn here. Which I believe is good news. Generally speaking, my rooks, yeah, there could be a mass trade of rooks. Okay, I might have queen g6 on the cards. This mass trade of rooks, though, can't stop it. I can play queen f5 here. He has released that square f5 on his last move. That kind of weakness of the last move. Queen standing centrally here. Threatening. I was threatening something there. Okay, only a pawn up. But my pieces feel okay. My king seems okay. Right, that looks like a nice pin on the d file, which rook d8 is not possible, f6 is not possible. How does black relieve this pin? And I put more pressure on the pin. Pin and win, as they say. So I believe this is a winning pin. Thanks, J. Russell. Sangster, hi there. Shall I play knight c6? I wonder. Well, let's see what he plays actually. I think knight f6. Okay, let's try an Nimza Indian, or maybe even a Benoni would be interesting. I think Nimza Indian. Let's start solid this session before I get into the massacres. When I get massacred, let's try and start solidly. I should have maybe made the f8 square available. I think I've seen this plan before. I've just realised that on this, to avoid structural damage, black can consider rook e8. I'm pretty sure I've seen that before. That idea. That's a pretty nifty idea sometimes. Okay, let's see. Am I getting run over with e4, e5? Try and meet this with e5, knight f5, bishop f8. So we've got a different flavour. It's a kind of dark square strategy here instead of a light square one. If I can loosen white's dark squares, like the c5 square could be handy. Although bishop g5 could be annoying. There's some pressure here on bishop g5, knight d7 to c5. That's a fine and dandy plan, but it's my king side I'm concerned with. If something like f4, if the knight's here, it's not entirely defensively orientated. The bishop g5, yeah, there's no knight h6 on h6 at the moment, but that would be a heavy price to sort of unpin to play h6. This knight's looking a bit on the menacing side. I'll try nudging it. Is the bishop just going back there? Okay, can I do this? to try and nudge this knight away. Trying without losing h6, without getting torn to shreds. Can I do this? g6, can I do that? Is f4 on the way? g6, I'm trying to pursue a dark square strategy in the longer term with knight d7 to c5, but I'm concerned about things like f4. That might help a dark square strategy. I wonder. Say f4, g6, f takes your knight h6. I think I should kick it now before that f4 hits home. Okay, now I think I'm prepared for f4 a little bit more. If I can take, okay, so much for the knight c5 plan. Yes, I'm a bit lacking in space. If I try and grab this dark square bishop here, because I can't see what else to do, there's queen h4 to try and provoke a weakness. Maybe I should do that first. That also rules out fg. Okay, now. Interesting. Can I play knight f6? Now b takes, I'm worried about c7 sometimes. c7 for knight b5. Would I have a crude plan of taking on h3? I rewrote this. Yeah, knight h5 to f4. Alright, let's try and hold c7 for a moment though. It's probably breaking c5 break. How damaging. I'm threatening knight takes e4 here for queen takes e2. Knight takes e4 for queen takes e2 could be handy. Apart from that, the queen's not doing anything on h5 at the moment. So only knight takes e4. Get some hydration. Right. How can I reroute a knight into f4? Can I start with g5? Gives me queen g6. Actually, knight h5 to f4. That looks like a Fischer, Spassky Fischer maneuver to put a queen on g6. A little bit. Okay. Okay. The e4 pawn is hanging here. Is it? Seems to be. I might take it. Shall I? Dangerous. I'm hoping there's no backfire. Is he taking here? Right, this is a loose piece alert. Loose piece alert. And also, if I can get away with this, actually, let's take here. Can I get away with this? Can I get the queens off? Pawn up. Liberate the bishop. Actually, there's bishop e5, g3. Let's move this rook first somewhere. Although, there would actually, I'd be losing the exchange. Maybe here. Because I wouldn't have a reverse gear. Am I nearly losing my queen with what I've just played? It's got g3 on the cards. Give my queen a reverse gear. I've got this g file to work with, potentially. Now, again, my king
Check.
side feels scary.
Check.
It's trying to break in. Queen g6 on queen f6. I'm still wondering about the g-file road on queen f6, queen g6 to follow with rook g8. I'll stop the entrance, queen f6, e3 now on the cards. Let's take care and e3 this to try and damage this pawn chain. Also rook a2 could be attacking. So actually f4 queen g3 would be a threat because of the pin on f2. If I get to play f4, then I'd have queen g3. Or simply rook g8, but knight e7, queen g3 mating because of that pin. If I keep the pin for a moment, I just need to play, well, rook g8, queen e3 protects g3. I need to play maybe f4. What's this? Alright. Well, f3. Thanks for the game, Sexter. Zebel. Let's play an English opening. I'm pre-moving there. Now I wonder, it's a sort of system I think I've seen Magnus Carlsen play a bit, and this is a very popular counter system by black. So b4 knight e4 to c5. Don't want to change the structure like that necessarily, because I don't like pressure bearing down on the e2 pawn here. I'm wondering about actually bishop g5 here. Does he play f6? If he doesn't, then there's knight f6. Maybe I'm tempted to check that. He's somewhat weakening the diagonal with f6. On the f6, bishop drops back. f5. Okay, bishop drops back. I can nab a pawn here. Do I dare to nab a pawn? Which way? Bishop d4, knight d4. I end up losing a piece to f5 after. What about just putting the bishop back for a moment? Pre-moving knight f3, bishop f3. This diagonal I have made a little bit more sensitive, provoking f6. The e3, yeah, the classic backward pawn on the d file. I've had positions like that before. Okay, let's try and neutralize the pressure here. So knight c5, e3, knight f3, queen f3. Anything going on there? I'm thinking downside to black's position. I'll put a knight in here. I've got some light square pressure. I think this is okay, this position. I don't think I have to worry too much about the d3 pawn right now. Okay, it's d4 on the cards. Knight d7, forcing move doesn't do anything. h4, h5. Let's try and loosen the opponent's king here. The knight c5, rook c5. Oh, that's interesting. I can take and then knight g5. I'm wondering about this diagonal mechanism. If I can take out the light square bishop, then something like queen b3 and e4 would try and exploit the sensitivity of the diagonal. If queen b3, bishop d7, queen b3 for e4, if bishop f7 takes queen b3, I like this mechanism I've got with knight g5 now. Let's take out this light square bishop and protect this guy and a3 for a moment. I think I'm threatening e4. Now e4 is threatened, surely. b5 is possible because if takes, I'm taking a knight after. If he doesn't, queen b6. Oh, queen b6. It's something to bear in mind. But e4, okay, knight c7. Is that convincing? That might work well with... Let's try... No, let's not try. Let's put some pressure on d5. Hang on a sec. Let's put some more pressure. Maybe this one's not doing anything. Double rooks for b5. Queen b6. There's rook d5 anyway. I mean, bishop d5. Bishop d5. But yeah, I've got pressure on d5. It looks like a nice position with the bishop here at the moment. Okay, a4 for b5. Hang on, it's on d3. It's on d3. b5. b5 is possible. b5 looks possible. He seems overloaded. The knight can't take. The pawn can't take because the rook takes. So the knight can't take, so queen takes. Okay, if only bishop a5 was possible. I can keep the overloading going, doubling rooks. I want to play for bishop a5 here. Ah, can I play queen a4 or a4? What about a4 just to keep the pressure? a5 squishing the queen is now on the cards. If I want to squish the queen, that looks like very good news. I can take on c7 at least. Maybe there was better, but this looks good enough. He's not taking my queen. I can go in with the queen here. Rook d7, there's no check. Okay, I'm going to be losing the rook as well. Do I worry too much about losing the rook? That's unfortunate. I'll safeguard the bishop anyway. Actually, you can just take on. You can just take the bishop now. My rook's still trapped. I haven't sorted out the rook, have I? I've given my rook no reverse gear here. Fantastic. Okay, I can safeguard my bishop. Muppets. I think you could have just done rook takes d2. Alright, can I take here? Now this check, king h2, let him play e4, queen c4. Still play for h5 maybe. As long as my king's got h2, it seems pretty promising here. Maybe bishop f1's handy for king g2. There's also queen e6 with idea of h6 here to win the bishop. Let's put some pressure on b7. Okay, okay. King g2. There's a check here.
Check.
Is he just going to f6, back to f6? Aha, okay, let's go with this check. I don't want a repetition draw just yet. Keep on the light square then. Hit c6. And there's bishop b5 here. Now if takes, there's check actually, rather than that. I can take on c6. There's queen b6. Queen e5 coming. Right, thanks for the game, Zebul. A4 h5. Let's try it in English opening again. Question on stream. My parents were originally from Cyprus, actually. If you're wondering, I was born in London, so Londoner. But my descent is Greek, Cypriot, in particular. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to any of the Greek islands. They're very nice. I myself have been to Crete, Corfu, Cyprus. Okay, so here I'm wondering, can I get away with an immediate d4? I'm going to try and break open the. Would he take that? I'm wondering if it's not a loose piece yet because of knight d3. Now take. Yeah, knight b4. Okay, I'm hoping to get some queenside counterplay, a sort of gambit, but I'm not sure how sound that is the way I played this. But it will be a distraction to any kingside attacks if he's using up resources. I would wonder. Now there's e4 for knight d3 if I'm not careful. But the idea of the kingside attack, I think, has been put on hold. Let's try and take this knight off. I know I've made it a gambit. Might be very dumb. Might be a very dumb gambit. Now I got f3. At least the bishop is blunted here. I can give myself a backward pawn as well to worry about. Takes rook e8, knight f4, rook e3, knight d5. I can end up losing the bishop on a3 if I'm not careful. Maybe I should just take this here. I wonder, knight f4. I don't think he's going to be playing either knight d3 or g5, too loose thing. Bishop g4, queen d3, or queen b3 threatens c5. He can just move his king. I can't put any more pressure immediately on e4. Okay, think about downsides of my opponent's position here. Queen b1, d5. d5 is slightly vulnerable. I could take on d5. Queen b1, bishop f5. Queen b1 hits b4 as well. I'm going to go for this. So I'm hitting b4 and e4. No, I didn't know he'd do that. Looks a bit loose thing, but my e3 is weak. My e3 is weak. Potentially to knight g4. Knight d1, rook f1, bishop f1. Alright. Can I take this? Right, can I get anything on the queen side I can take here? It looks like safe enough. Okay. That looks good news. Rook f6, knight d5. Looks dangerous. If rook f7, knight f6, if rook e6. Well, that looks good news. That position. If he takes on e2, knight f4 to win the queen. So rook f6 here looks like an interesting thing. On knight d5, bishop e6, yeah, I'm taking. On rook e6, it looks too tempting. What about just knight d5? Is that simpler? That might be a lot simpler. There's bishop e6, knight e7, there's king f7, knight f6, there's rook f6. Maybe rook f6, although it's not as simple, it's actually very appealing to do this. Because rook f7 there's knight f6. Yeah, this immediate knight d5, the queen's in the right place for knight d5, knight f6 or f4. Discovered check. Okay, I'm hoping this is okay. So rook f7, knight f6. Rook e6, again knight f6, that rook's pinned. Rook f8, knight f6. King moves knight f6. This looks strong. This looks strong. Queen takes e2, knight f4 to win the queen. Knight f4, hang on, he's got bishop e6. Maybe knight f6 is better there. And king g7, queen g8. King f6, rook f1. This is a double check. Knight f4, there's always bishop e6. I think I should take the rook. Actually, let's take the rook.
Check.
So king h8, queen g8. Now here, queen g8, king f6, rook f1. He'd have to give up the queen, wouldn't he? On king e7, rook f7. It looks close to a mating net, but can I just play? Can I just play rook f1 here? Bishop g4. There's always a bishop h3 if I need it. Queen g8, king f6, rook f1, king e7, rook f7, king d. He's always got d8 covered. This position, queen f8, king c6. It looks like a good king chase. I'm going to go for it. No, hang on. He's always got bishop f5. This might be too dangerous. Okay. What about rook f1? Hang on. I'll go with rook f1. Actually, if the bishop moves, there's queen b7, winning the rook. So my possibility includes queen g8 now. Also, there's knight e8 to consider. There's quite a lot of forcing moves to consider here. 1 minute 21 to factor in, to check them all out. So queen g8 or knight e8, or not knight h5, because actually that's even defending f7 taking. Queen g8, king h6, queen. Well, that looks as though there should be a mate. Material situation here is not too bad. I've got 3 bits, he's got 3 bits. Got an extra pawn. The centre is in meltdown still. And there's bishop d2. Let's think about this again. Say bishop d2, queen g8, king h6. Well, knight g4. Any takes, there's rook f6. And any king takes h5, there's queen takes h7, mating. So yeah, I think queen g8, king h6, knight g4, anything takes, rook f6, check, king h5, queen h7 is mating, because actually g4 will be occupied. No, it won't. Yes, it will. Yeah, I think this is a mating net with queen g8 if it's allowed. Let's go for it. Although he's introduced rook f6 as the defense. Can I actually just take off on c8 to simplify this now that he's introduced this? I can take here and queen h3.
Check.
There's knight g4 threatened now. Forking king queen. Right, now this is running with check, right?
Check.
Right, thanks for the game. Okay, Rocky top. A lot of challenges today, thank you guys. Challenge me. By the way, I have big news for the ICC auto pairing this week. I hit a new auto pairing 5-minute on the ICC of over 2400 this week. Even better news, I crashed back down to 2280 shortly after, which means I'm not going to get GMs every single game on the auto pairing. But no, it was a new record. My old record was about 2385 on the 5-minute auto pairing, set like in 2012. My Blitz rating has been over 2600, but the auto pairing is a lot harder to get high ratings on. So I was amazed. I had a string of bit of luck, got up really early. Maybe it wasn't as strong as it usually is. Had a bit of luck, crept over 2400 for a little bit, and then started to get smashed back down again. So but I feel if I get a high auto pairing rating, very high, before this kind of session, and I'm flung onto the 5-minute auto pairing, I will get very, very strong players, which might not be entirely amusing all the time to get smashed if I was getting smashed, but one should be optimistic. Okay, so knight takes, c takes is fine. Bishop e2. Can I grab this light square bishop with knight takes e2? Actually, if queen takes, there's bishop takes c3 check there, because this rook would be unprotected. That's interesting. Bishop e2, knight takes, queen takes, there's bishop takes c3 check. I'm going to check that. I'm going to check this out. Does he really go into that, or does he play knight takes e2? Knight takes e2 is possible, but then knight f6 is with tempo. That's not entirely terrible. So he has to now protect e4, and I've grabbed that light square bishop. So I've got this light square bishop, which is potentially useful. Now, I could just try and give it up here to just strengthen my e5 grip. So h3 I'll take, I think, and yes, and play as though I'm playing a Benoni. Although my queen shouldn't have been there just then. That was extremely dumb. Okay, I think I should have moved my queen prior to that. Oh well. Nevertheless, doesn't seem immediately as though this is a disaster, I hope. Although it's getting that way. Okay, knight d7. Can I kick the knight with b5, or am I going to be exterminated? Right, there's b5 here, because I'll be on a4 with the rook. So there's no knight c3, there's knight b2. Knight b2, b4, or knight e5 coming up. So knight b2. Now if he took, okay, that's not so good. Knight e5 or b4 just to close up the c5 issue, or try and close up the c5 issue. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to try and play it like this, because I don't want c-file frontal attack on my c-pawn coming up necessarily, but it does lead the way for knight a4 here, or knight d3. Okay, can I try and strengthen c5 with rook c8 and knight e5, just swap that knight off, try and create a dark square blockade. Now here, if I get the pieces off, I still get a dark square blockade, I hope. Apparently not. I'm getting a wretched pawn structure instead. Oh boy. Can I work with this position? With queen d6? I'm hoping, okay, he can put more pressure out with battery later. Actually, I've got a pawn majority here. a4, crack open b3 at some point. My bishop is now blocked though, so this is not going to help any past a pawn with a b3 breakthrough. As soon as he plays f4, that changes. I could get ready for a4 b3. Try and create a menacing pass pawn here. That's giving me the bishop for the menacing pass pawn. Although, if I just run into a major liability area, can I do an exchange sack? Yeah. I'm just wondering about b3. If rook f4, bishop e5, I can get some simplification. Now here, I think this exchange sack is interesting, if nothing else, because I'm blockading his actual. Well, I want a3 for a2. Yeah. It's good to have the breaks when someone's low in time to do the strategic break, as well as a general rule, as well as regrouping the pieces for the break. Okay, thanks for the game, Rocky Top. Benny Wins has crushed me before. I'm wary and terrified of Benny Wins. Okay, let's. Hang on. Let's. Hang on. Let me do a piece stat. Now, what you can do, it's a great feature on the ICC. I'm just going to confirm this. If I do the command piece stat, I don't. This is a little tutorial on commands. Oh, it's just one loss. Okay, is it one win and one loss? Okay. Let's see. It's an unrated blitz. Oh, thank you. I think he doesn't mean to crush my rating when he crushes me. That's nice. Please. Okay. Yes, I don't pay attention to the numbers as much as past experience at the moment. It's sensible play so far. Alright, sensible play so far. Yeah, I should have made way for my bishop. That was a pathetic thing to do. Just give up the light square bishop for nothing. So I'm officially worse now, right? Let's try and play knight g4. Justify the extra knight. If I can get an outpost on f5. Okay, I'm happy so far, sort of, because I'm thinking queen h5 will stop bishop g5, g3, king g2, rook h1. If necessary, a sack on h6. I might be being entirely optimistic about this. Okay, I like it. At the moment, maybe I shouldn't, but rook h1 threatened. Am I causing some concession? H6 is possible. There's queen g3, maybe with rook h6. If bishop takes, he can close up everything. But how? Hang on. I can double rooks. Rook h6 here, king h6, there's queen h4. Bishop g5 is dangerous. If bishop takes, there's g5. Don't know how dangerous that is. Losing the exchange might not be the cleverest. Why not just double rooks free of charge? I mean, it's possible that this is not accurate. He's always got a4 in the background of this stuff. So if he played bishop e3, queen e3, queen g5, and I took, say he gets the rooks off later, is he going to get a pass pawn anywhere? You know, there's a snag with rook h8. There's f6 in that position. I've just realised. Rook h8 is f6. You can play king f6 here, but this a4 is dangerous on this side of the board. I think with a4, this is dangerous. If his king's on f6, he doesn't have to blunder with rook h8 and then f6. Yeah. Can I take on g6 here? Try and get access to, well, either rook h6 wins. Hang on, this is looking okay. I'm just worried about the wrath of a4. If I can take rook h7, my king's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Check.
But my rook on the 7th, can I do something? King e6, rook g7, king f6, rook d7, king e6. It's not going anywhere. I get that. This king can reverberate. Where can my king go? I can try and go over here. His king's not infiltrating at the moment. This a4 is going to be dangerous. Can my king get... I don't know. I can't handle the weaknesses in this position. He's actually more solid. I haven't got any break whatsoever. I don't want to give him a pass pawn. Can I play c3? Try and break his pawns a bit. Maybe king e3, d4 later. That would be something. Am I just losing a pawn? I'm going to have to reverberate a perpetual. I'm going to be losing a pawn, aren't I? Oh man, I'm going to get ground down. I have to force a draw. I'm ignoring the rating number. He's beaten me before. I'm not going to go out my way to beat this guy. It's an unrated game anyway. I don't want to... There's nothing to do. Anyway, he's better, objectively. If I'm being objective. There was one trap he could have fallen into earlier, but he didn't. With rook h8, there was f6. That was one major trap. I think we agree a draw here. Thanks for the game. Okay, MP3. So MP3 sounds like a movie format, MP3, if it was MP3, but it's actually MP3. Okay. Is this challenge on? I don't know if he's ready. I'm going to abort it. Geography whiz? Okay, geography whiz. I might be going on the auto pairing soon. Come on, guys. What is this? Geography whiz. Okay, I'll look up the rating profile. While waiting. We got a game. Okay, I'll play Caracan. Oh, okay. Yeah, Panov Botvinnik attack. If c5 knight e4. Okay, this looks... I think I've seen this kind of thing before. If I can make use of the c4 square later, there could be an exchange sack, potentially. Right, I want to try and make use of the c4 square if I can. Now, if he takes... yeah, I'm going to try and do this. I've seen this plan before, actually. Maybe knight c4 was interesting. Actually, he's exposing this a4 for attack. On queen d7 there's an annoying knight e5. Queen e8 is probably pointless. Queen d5, mate, e7 could be vulnerable soon. Queen d5 does seem okay without too much hassle. Now I just want to sort out e7 somehow. Let's maybe take this off or not. If I just play e6, can I maintain the blockade? There's bishop e4 there. No, there isn't. It's pinned. Okay, I've got the blockade. I think I need to double rooks. Probably not on c6. Bishop e4 might be possible later, maybe. What about just rook c7 that runs into bishop f4? So there's no ideal way of doubling. I think I'll have to go with rook c6. Okay, this has happened. Rook b5 is dangerous. Can I play this for a moment? Okay, do I go to knight a5, c4? I don't suppose knight c4, rook c1 is good. What about just knight takes for queen c3, queen takes c3, knight takes for queen takes c3. Would seem a logical thing to do. It weakens d4 as well. Consider bishop d4. Check. Rook c3. I don't think that's a bit of fantasy. e5 though. Try and break open if d5 e4. If rook c2 there's queen a1. Alright, so I want to try and break open this diagonal. And the centre, I want to try and break the centre down. D takes is good, bishop e5, skewering the rooks. So d5 e4, bishop e4, queen b2. I'm skewering the rooks, hitting h2 as well. New forcing moves like bishop h2 to be considered. Queen takes as well, rook c1, king f2. What about this d3 bishop? What about queen c7 for a moment, just to try and provoke some weaknesses? Actually, this is a double attack on h2 and b2. Now if rook c2, bishop h2, king moves, queen g3, I can sustain that position. Is the bishop kind of trapped on h2? Do I need to play it like that? I can put my queen on e5, rook c2, bishop h2, king h1, queen e5. Let's say rook... okay, let's go with this. I think more central. Gives the bishop still g3. Rook c8, rook c8. Rook c1, rook c2, rook c2, bishop g3. Gives me queen a1. There is queen f1 there. There's queen a1 here. There's king h2. Rook c2 here is probably not helping. queen, just queen b8 or queen g3? Is queen g3? I'm not getting the bishop out. What about just queen b8? Let's just get this. Make sure this bishop can come out. Back. Do I want the bishop on, say, c5? Bishop d6 or e5? Bishop d6 to c5. Or bishop e5. Alright, let's just hold the fort here. No, let's not. Maybe. Let's just take off a pair of rooks. Hold on a sec. Bishop c7. The bishop's safe. Get the queen in front of the bishop. Queen d8, queen d6 plan. Queen d8, queen h4. King g1, bishop h2. Okay, I have the bishop here then. Right, there's queen g3 here. There's rook d8. Rook d8 seems more sensible with tempo, but I can still play that without an entry point at the moment. No, queen d6. Okay, maybe do something with f7 one day. Bishop c7 threatens mate, and it also threatens queen d1 mating. Bishop c7 looks dangerous. Right, f7 disaster, not yet imminent, I hope. So I'm threatening queen h2 immediately, as well as queen d1. Right, throw the check in.
Check.
Surely because of rook d2. Not rook d2. No, I'm a bit worried. Let's go back to base. I'm hoping I haven't done permanent damage, although rook d5 is looking scary. Hang on, there's queen f6 there. In fact, if I play queen f6 here...
Check.
Well, there's a check.
Check.
And there's a check on d2 to drag the bishop back.
Check.
And now what? Stop the infiltration of the rook for a moment. Okay, get on this diagonal before I get mated. Hang on, his rook's there. Hang on.
Check.
Okay, let's start moving this pawn. Alright, he's tied down to e3. If I play queen e5.
Check.
It's not entirely convincing, this game. If I get rid of the queens
Check.
just to be safe side. Okay, I think I might be able to do something from there. Alright, thanks for the game. There's Metanov. Oh yeah, I have to worry about the opposite colour bishops from attack point of perspective from both sides all the time. Get this bishop out of the pawn chain somewhere. Just before I close it. So e6 and bishop e7 on the cards. Hopefully without any major issue here. It looks as though I've avoided a bad piece from the opening. My king safety seems okay. This bishop could come back. Maybe I wriggle back. Yeah, if I can get a bit more king safety, I can play on the queen side, I believe. So something like knight a5, rook c8, knight c4. Okay, let's have the double pawns here. I think the c3 knight might be vulnerable to c-file pressure. Something like rook c8, or maybe even knight c4 immediately. Hang on a sec. So he takes on g6. Does he then play b3? Say, plays it immediately. Alright. I'm hoping this f-file's not a killer for me. I'm just wondering, okay, a6 maybe to avoid knight b5. a6, he might have knight a4 to c5 later. I want to be able to play knight b4 without knight b5, I think. If that's doing anything. Maybe queen a5. Queen a5, queen d2, bishop b4. Queen a5, knight moves, knight b4. Okay. Keep this one protecting f7. Maybe I need to move the bishop back actually to stop knight g5's. I can afford queen a5 here surely. So the c3 knight, say rooks, well there's no rook c1, say knight d1. Maybe I just play for the c file, knight b4, rook c2. Knight b4, rook c2 looks like a good plan. Right, once the queen's off, do I care? Unless my bishop's getting trapped. I hope not. Can I get in rook c2 here? This looks like a classic 7th rank infiltration. If I can play rook c2, rook c8, double rooks on the 7th later. Okay, rook c2. I'm not sure about knight a2. There might be rook a1. Bishop's loose. Maybe I get ready for the classic 7th rank. Though, as part of that, it could be good if I play rook c8 first. As knight e1, then rook a2. If he wants to defend a2, so what? There's also rook e2. Rook e2 or rook a2? In a way, rook e2 is less hassle. There is rook e1. If I want my rooks on the 7th, I'm going to try and start with this instead of a2. Okay. No rooks on the 7th for me. One rook on the 7th, rather, not both, but one. So I can take on a2 without rook c1. Okay. Thanks for the game. Grubel. Let's play an English opening. I'll avoid bishop b4 with this move. I want to play for d5, I think. So b3, bishop b3. He's going to play for an attack. of some sort. But I want to play for d5. Especially here, this diagonal is just weakened. I'm definitely thinking this should be dynamic treatment here now. He's just opened up his king, essentially, potentially, essentially. I protect this, so I'll be threatening knight e4 without losing a bishop, hopefully. That was the point anyway. That I can take on e4 here, surely. Right. Now queen e5 pins g5, hits c7. Looks like a good move overall. Let's get the queens off. Now if I take care, this looks very good so far. Very good. Let's hit this knight. I go knight e6. Getting a dreamy position. Win c7. Maybe. Is it worth winning c7? I can't see what he's doing with his rooks here. It looks pretty solid. e2 is protected. f2, I can't see what's happening here. I'll take this guy. I mean, I just don't see the counterplay at the moment. For nabbing these pawns. Right. We get a pin of some sort. Knight c4. Okay, I'll play this to cement the d5. He has got knight e3. That's fine. He can take off this bishop if he wants. With that knight on e6. Okay, I don't want to lose necessarily a pawn. In fact, I can play a5 there. Potentially. Okay, f5 here. I think a5 here takes his rook b8 if he wins a5 there. Right here I can target d6. I can play rook d2 on rook c2. Oh, f6 looks crushing as well. Potentially. I can just double here. Double trouble. Rook c2, king f3. Check, king f4. Alright, I'll play f6 while I can. Gives me e5. If it takes rook d8 as mate. If check. I can bring my king up, avoid the checks. Thanks for the game. Murad Magdi. A lot of challenges tonight. Okay, Murad. Profile. Playing it over the board chess apparently. 5-minute. Auto pairing 2160. Not too bad. Okay. Knight f6. I'll play this c5. I have two monitors here. In my other setup I have three actually. Just have the two here. Question on stream. Trying to provoke d5. He's not having it. Here? No d5? Here? You want to play d5, don't you? Yeah, you want to make the game exciting. Go on! Play d5! Let me play knight a5. Get some counterplay. Standard looking counterplay. Come on. Ah. Can I play knight g4, trying to be naughty? Yeah. Just wondering about this b3. Is b3 really appropriate? Right, queen a5. I mean, maybe cd queen h5, hitting h2. Am I dreaming? Threatening knight d4. If h3, weakness. Knight f6. I'm on h3. Knight d4 threatens. Switch my queen rather cheekily over here for knight d4, knight d4, queen h2, h3, knight f6, I'm on h3. Doesn't seem like a bad turnout of events, this position. It looks crude. There's knight f4. Right. And what if e5? Is that so terrible? Stop knight f4. h3, there's also knight h6 to consider, not to block in the bishop. I wonder. Think more deeply about this position and what are the actual downsides that I could try and tap into of my opponent's position here. There's bishop h6 as well. Actually, let me play that here, because rook c2 is, I can be annoying with bishop f5. I want to play like rook d8 to be ready for de. Is he going just rook a1 or something? Okay. e4, e3 looks scary to me. I can even answer knight f4 now with bishop f4. Actually, that is a benefit of bishop h6. Another one is e3 support. The rook's awkward. He wants to avoid bishop f5. Going into e3 here. Knight d2, e3. Knight e1, e3. Sorry, hang on. If the knight moves, queen h2, mate. Yeah? Come on! You need to wake up here. If the knight moves, queen h2, mate. Yeah, the knight's not going to move. Except for h4. I did visit the London Classic just on a rest day, but I met up with quite a few friends from Muswell Hill Chess Club. So hang on a sec. G5, H3, or there's E3. E3 or G5? Which one might be safer? I'm thinking G5. Nice pin. Maybe F5 to stop E4 dropping. Okay, the diagonal's a bit scary maybe. But if I can get in H3, bishop H1, H2, this is mega dangerous, isn't it? H3, H2, if nothing else. HG, knight G3, bishop D1. cement to avoid this lock-in bishop. This is less scary on the diagonal. So I'm still threatening h3, h2, let alone things like... I've got a few goodies here, basically. Don't think that helps. Why can't I just take this? And take this? And take this? Okay, there is a check.
Check.
Hang on a sec.
Check.
Right, that's check. I don't want to go into a disaster from this position, particularly. So can I just move the bishop back for the moment? Maybe here to stop any rook e7 later. Can I stop rook f5, hold the queen? There's always queen e4 check. Pinning the rook now. Alright. Rook h6 for bishop h3.
Check. Check. Check.
And take it here.
Check.
Let's check to
Check.
win the bishop. Right. Okay. Right. Have we run out of challenges? Time for the 5-minute auto pairing. Okay, let's have a 5-minute auto pairing. Okay. Oh, there's another one. Ball creeper. Hi there. Profile check. UCF Blitz rating 2078. Apparently 5-minute is 1882 on the auto pairing. At this position I don't mind. It's got simple plan I picked up on. That it's kind of reverse Sicilian where you can use the c5 square. So bishop e3, rook c1, knight e4 to c5, that sort of thing. b4 maybe immediately here. So rook c1, knight e4 to c5. Knight d2 might keep the tension, hold b3 here against bishop b3. Can I play e3? Knight f5. I think this is sort of Magnus Carlsen territory. I'm on b7 here. I've just seen a few games of Magnus Carlsen from this position as well. e3 is a good kicking move if there's no bishop b3, which is crushing. e3 might be handy. d3 weakens, knight f5, queen e2. You could try and double. He's got to address b7 at some point. He addresses b7 there. Kick this guy back. Do I want c2 or e2? Maybe c2 is better, actually. Any d4 I'm hitting, I'm opening up this diagonal. What does that do? Does it provide rook a5? Just in case... Oh, there's bishop b3. It's not on the cards at the moment. Bishop a1 to support b5. So if I play knight e4 without any hassle for a moment, just protect b5, maybe play for knight e4 and maybe even d4 or knight c5. Knight e4 here, bishop e4. I can play for d4 later. I'm on h7. Maybe I should take with the bishop there. It gives me d4 as a threat. Maybe even g6. Maybe I'll take queen g6. open up the diagonal. So d4 might be threatened. f5, he weakens e5. Alright. d4 might be worth playing anyway. Okay. And if bishop d4 after... Well, he's got weak light squares. That's why I'm thinking this is okay. He's weakened his light squares a little bit. Can I use the c-file pressure here with rook c1? Bishop a3 does a check, winning the bishop. Rook c1's possible then. If rook d7 there's bishop b6 is example using the battery. Anything else? The check for queen f7 is interesting. There's rook f8. If the king went there, there's rook f... No, there isn't. Queen e7. The check for queen f7. Bishop moves, there's knight f6. That would be mating potentially if the king wasn't h8. So yeah, the check for queen f7 is an interesting possibility. I'm going to play this.
Check.
He's got bishop f8, I guess. Holds against knight f6. What if rook d1? Knight g5, knight f6. Okay, switch a rook in. I'll try this. He seems in trouble. Bishop a3. That's an isolated pawn to add to the collection of pawn weaknesses. Nice blockade on e4. What about just rook c1? There's rook d7. If rook c1, there's bishop a3. If knight g5, knight g5 might be a dangerous move. As queen g4 hits my d1 rook. Let's look at the downsides again of this position. A little bit more detail. I can invest a minute here. So knight g5, queen g4. Rook d8, queen d8. a3 is vulnerable. Probably knight g5 for queen h5 is dangerous. There's always got queen g4. That's the downer. Maybe king g2 here. Maybe queen g4, there's f3. Maybe just king g2. On bishop a3, knight g5. You know what? I can't take too long on this. What about rook c1? Hang on a sec. The knight is covering d2. Let's just use this rook. Here, okay. Rook d7, queen h5. I've used a minute there without finding anything. So this is what I was rejecting because before, but I'm on c7. I want to make him do something with c7. If takes, there's rook b7 as example. So that would tie the bishop down. So c6, I take rook b7, ties the bishop down to g7. Rook d7, queen h5. On bishop a3, example. Knight g5, h6, knight f7. It's not doing anything. I have f3 here. I have rook c7 here. Takes the queen, takes on a3. He's got a big passed pawn. Anything better? There is queen a2. For knight g5. That's interesting to keep some tension in the position for knight g5. I can also just try and double on the c file. Alright, it's given me potentially... Okay, if I stop any rook, any queen d3s, just double on the c file and prepare knight g5 as the plan. Okay, I'll keep things protected. Have I just let him take over the position, basically? Oops. This is not entirely a brilliant idea. Oh, let's just go behind this pawn. He's got his passed pawn now. What have I got? Put a rook on the 7th. I'll try and fix down the light squares. Try for mating that. I'll take this. Oh, why not just give up g6 for nothing? That was a good idea.
Time warning. Check.
Alright, yes, fun one. Okay. Alright, if there's no challenges, I'll go on to the auto pairing. Oh, blimey. Oh boy. I should have waited for more challenges. I made my first big mistake of the evening going on the 5-minute auto pairing. I'm only playing a West German Grandmaster champion multiple times. Apart from that, everything's fine. And he's got a massive plus score against me. I think he actually enjoys crushing me. I'm sure he relishes it more than other people. But anyway, putting that aside, yep. We've had a similar... Nope, that was probably against Bones. I had a similar opening against Bones, another GM, in this sort of opening. That didn't end well. Still, one must imagine the downsides of the opponent's play, but he's going to get c4 now the way I've played it. That's my first positional achievement, just giving him c4 on the plate. Okay, that's nice. Great. Is he going to try and hack my king to death later? Probably with knight f4 to e5. Can I nudge this away? Or is there knight b6? This bishop is going to be victimized. Okay, I'll let him. I'll play king h8 and say take my bishop. Do I care? I'm just wondering about my king safety evaporating pretty soon. Knight h5, king h8. I guess I need to move the rook. So king h8. I don't know the threat. I probably should see it. I was bishop f5, then queen h5. Can I play this? I've got knight d7 winning exchange. That's great. Maybe there's knight f4 and bishop c8. He takes a rook. Can I do this? Pretty tied down, actually. Pretty tied down. I could probably play h6 though to avoid getting mated. I wonder if I can take on f4 then. On bishop f5, I wonder h6. d5. e6 takes bishop e6. Does open up my bishop. C4 doesn't do anything. I'm kind of tied down here. I can play h6 in advance. I can ask to be mated on the light squares at a later date. After bishop f5, bishop moves back, queen goes to f5. Not much later date because I haven't got bishop c8. Which means, actually, if he does that, okay. Oh, I'm pretty stuck. I can't see what to do, actually. So I'm going to try something desperate. Let's pawn sack, maybe d5, d4. Use some fantasy and imagination here. I don't think this is going to do anything, but anyway. So he's just got queen g6. Right. Is really, I don't know. I didn't see what to do earlier. I don't see what to do now against queen g6. This looks pretty lost. Yeah, I think I'll resign here. I think there's nothing to do. Actually, he has the e file. He has everything here. Sorry. This is good, isn't it? The auto pairing, it's good. I don't know, he's really good. I don't know. I think he plays even better against me than other people. But anyway. So we'll play another 5-minute auto pairing. It's no fun. I think that opening, I don't know, was lacking. Oh boy. And actually his normal blitz rank, I think, okay. Play an IM. Yes, just an IM. I'm feeling much better. I've got what seems to be a position from the opening, which might be playable. I've seen this plan before, I'm not too terrified. I could always put my queen on f2. Oh, blocking his bishop is tempting. Let's play for b4. All right. Is EF out of the question? Well, what about if I do play E5? Am I not threatening this knight a bit? take off this knight, or is my knight stranded? Maybe it'll get b4, you never know. Right, that's interesting. Is my knight just getting stranded? Can I play c takes? Is that terrible? Isn't there rook c1 here? If I took no queen c2, if bishop e7 there's knight e7 check. He's right, leaving a piece there. That's weird. I didn't expect that. I'm gonna get 2 pawns with rook c5. I mean, it might be stronger, but this seems fine.
Check.
Queen c2 threatens not much, but I don't think I've got hanging pieces just yet. d6. There's rook c8, queen c8, queen c8. There's bishop b7 at the end of it. He's got queen b6 for queen d4 check. I can play this forcing sequence just to simplify. Rook c8, queen c8, queen c8, rook c8, bishop b7. I think in the absence of anything else, I mean, it looks clear cut to simplify. In fact, I'll have rook c1 for rook c8 here, because if he's not careful. And so I can just take off the bishop with knight e6, takes knight g7, takes rook d8, rook d1, rook d5, d4. Yeah, I'll take the bishop off. Rook b3, rook d2, rook b5, rook e2. Have an active rook here for a laugh. If I just protect everything for a moment before I think about what to do next. Now that his rook's there, rook e2, king d4, e6, rook b8, e7. There's rook f2. I'll play with rook f2. Gotta do something. It's 2 pawns up, but his rook's really active, his king's active. Right, if I played h4 here, just to try and win, I'm not giving my king any squares. I'm trying to get his rook to be a little bit less active. Well, that's not happening, is it? I can play the check to win a4 though. Or maybe g4 is better to get h3 for my king. I was still on a4.
Check. Check.
If I take here, I'm not getting mated just yet, am I? Well, there is actually king f3, but there's no immediate check, mates or anything, I hope. I just wanted to give my king f3 and h3. If I can take this guy... Right, hold things together. I've got two connected past pawns. Trying to avoid getting mated with rook a1. And there's king d3 coming up. c1. Get behind this passed pawn. I can try and make the other way. Rook h4. There's a check here. Check. Seconds.
Time.
I wonder if he accepts a draw. Okay, yeah, I think I missed that. He had the activity in that rook and pawn. I didn't estimate the activity very well. Yeah, I thought it was close. Oh, I pressed 3 and 5. Okay, this is a 3-minute game. I didn't mean to play a 3-minute, but anyway, it's fun to mix it up. Khan. So this is the 3-minute water pairing. Let's play this bishop c8 if he plays g4. Alright. Probably think I don't want this a5 Vulcan grip on the position on the dark squares. Just at the moment. Can I get d5? You can target a5 with bishop d2, which he's going to do, which he does. Okay, can I play on this side of the board for a moment? Knight f5. Okay, there's queen d6. I'm aware of losing pawn. Okay, queen c8. Can I kick this guy? b6. Bishop g4. I think that might be knight f5. This looks pretty passive. Maybe there's c5 there. Trying to undermine the knight. Okay, can I sort out c6 for a moment without losing b6 ideally? This one? Without losing b6? that exchange. Yeah, and he's got c6 there. Can I play rook c7 to hold c6? Right, so bishop f5, knight f5. Knight g6 here, or maybe c5. Trying to sort of get some sort of. Has he got my dark squares or something? But not yet with bishop c3. The knight's holding things together on c3 and b6. Okay, so knight g6 here. Maybe king g6 if needed. I think his knight's pretty imposing. Alright, time's a factor as well. What about just for the moment queen c7? Alright, there's queen d6 on rook c1. No extermination yet with bishop c3. Let's drop back here.
Check.
And take this guy.
Check.
Right, dark squares are weak. Can I play knight d5? Or king h7? I'm going to be dropping some pawns. Whatever happens, I'm dropping pawns here. It does look weak. That's very weak.
Check.
Yeah, there's knight f4. Friendly knight h3. Some sort of counter-attack. Knight h3. Knight d3. I want f2 potentially. I think. Alright. Queen b4. There's knight f6. Let's hold that knight for a moment. Then my back row is vulnerable. Okay, knight h6. Avoid that for a moment. There's rook d3 here. Whoops. Ah! Rook c1 for queen f4. The check's not doing anything. Well, that was really unfortunate.
Check. Check.
Yep. Okay. Zyro. I think this might be the last game actually. We can fit this in. This will be the last game of the session. Try and fit this one in. Okay. Or we can go on the 3-minute auto pairing for one more game. It's just one more game on the 3-minute auto pairing. I bought this for a moment. I think everything is ready. Okay, a 3-minute auto pairing to finish off with. Try and get revenge on the 3-minute auto pairing. That was, I didn't like that. The position was just weaknesses everywhere all of a sudden. Can I try and end on a high note on the 3-minute auto pairing? Or some bullet games. Maybe I can try to commentary on bullet games. Okay. Let's see the bullet auto pairing, the 1-minute auto pairing, or the 3-minute, just to fit in some more games. 1 minute or the 3-minute. Okay, this is the 3 minutes. try and keep the pace. Okay, I like this because he doesn't play c4 yet, but he might play c4 here. Okay, so queen d7, rook d8. Alright. That's a fun one. Okay, e4 then. I'm going to avoid the frontal pressure on my d pawn. If he wants to play knight d4, I'll take it off and close up that frontal pressure. Oh, he's getting a nice blockade now though. g4, is that an idea? Not really. He's going to play knight d4 anyway. He just wants to play knight d4. Oh, I encourage him. Alright, what about... Nope, 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 nope. This does not seem clever. I'm getting loads of weaknesses again. Queen g5. This king could move, he could use the g file. Yeah, the dot square weaknesses are pretty pronounced. Okay. My centre is evaporating. Why would he want to do that? Haven't I got rook d1 in this position? You can always check me on f7. Okay. If I take here. It doesn't seem entirely terrible at the moment. I know he's got the bishop pair, but it doesn't seem entirely terrible. Maybe it does actually after that bishop e5. Alright, rook e7. I've got queen f7 on bishop f7, which is good news. I'll keep the bishop on g3 pinned. Maybe it might be worth playing rook f8. I guess. I'm just creating even more weaknesses with this move. I have no idea what I'm doing now. Okay, queen g7. I'm pretty tied up. Okay, rook e5. Queen g5 loses the queen. Rook e5 seems technically possible. Rook f5 seems technically possible as well. I can unpin for a moment. I'll be threatening. I'm just going into another pin. I thought I was threatening something there. Ah, that is kind of winning material. But there's a check over here. Hold on a sec.
Check.
So I'll be getting mated if I'm not careful. With Queen F5.
Time warning.
I'm getting mated.
Check. Check.
Yeah, I've lost this horribly. Ah, brutal. It's brutal. That's what the ICC is. Brutal. Okay, okay. Another time I might have better luck. Never mind. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. It was some fun games there. All right. Alright, thanks for coming, and there were some more. Okay, they're all fun. Okay. Should we leave it here? I'll just ask my co-producer. Leave it here at this low point. Okay. I hope you had fun and have a good weekend. Alright, have a good weekend and see you next week. Okay. Thanks very much.